I had a term life insurance that I signed up for in 2006 after paying for 16 years into that account. When I received the correct knowledge about 2 years ago, I had to drop that account because of the many disadvantages it has. I'm not going to get anything. It's not building cash for me. I have to die first before I get the benefit, and so on and so forth. So I was radical. I said, rubbish. And then I got the correct one. So as you come in here, please get the correct, account that can actually help you and your family in the future.
Welcome to our new series, My Financial Missteps, on our Cash Talk channel. So today we are going to be discussing, because the Financial Missteps series is all about us interviewing immigrants to share their financial stories coming to America and provide helpful tips, practical tips that you can use to avoid the same mistakes that they made. So our guest today, we are so excited to have him, Dr. Likita Aminu. So he is resident in Ohio, and he's a physician from Nigeria. He did his medical school at ABU Zaria. Woohoo! ABU!
Of ABU, Premier University.
Out there.
Yeah.
He did his medical school at ABU Zaria and his residency in general surgery at the University of Jos Teaching Hospital. And then he had an opportunity to go to Gambia for a while during this technical aid corps. Then he's married with children, and I'm sure there are more things that he would like to tell us about himself before we begin bombarding him with questions. Okay, so Dr. Likita Aminu, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself? Maybe there's something I omitted in what I've said. You're welcome to My Financial Missteps series.
Thank you, Miss Christine Wachuku, and your husband, Vidal Wachuku.
Thank you very much, and welcome again.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share a little bit of my experience here. I will not add a lot, really, just to mention the fact that coming to the United States of America was challenging because we arrived all at the same time, my wife with my 3 children, and they're all school-age children. And then you are faced with the issue of getting a job, getting a car, feeding them, accommodation. It was challenging. But we settled down, and we got around to get things done. We asked questions right, left, and center, and got some help somewhere. So yeah, coming to America as a family, whole family, complete family at once was a big challenge. But thank God we're now settled now. I think we are now about 21 years here in the US. Thank you for the
Before
opportunity.
I actually ask you the next question, Doc, yes, we know about the challenge, you coming and all that. Can you, but please just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do here since you came to America, flowing from what you've said and all that. So just a little bit more about your background in America now.
Yeah, thank you very much. Coming from Nigeria and as a physician, the United States of America expect you to start everything afresh. So they said for you to function, you have to do all the special professional exams and pass them before you can start seeing clients, as is expected of every other career when you come to the US here. So when I came, I was faced with the issue of pursuing that passion for me to get my career in medicine, or should I slow down and give my children the support they need and offer them the support they need so that they can have the right so that they can have their own opportunity in life. So I decided to pursue other lines. So I went for my master's in public health at Emory University. From there, I worked for Centers for Disease Control for a couple of years, then relocated to Ohio Department of Health, where I also worked there. After some time, I decided to start a home health care agency. So I run a home healthcare agency. That's my primary source of income now. But in the last 2 to 3 years, I found another opportunity, which is phenomenal, and that is my connection with you both. That is financial literacy, financial education of the middle class. And for the past 2-3 years, I'm passionate about it, and that I want to share the information with as many people that want to listen to me or hear me speak. So in brief, this is what I am. From being a physician and then coming here, I was also worked in the healthcare sector, but in a different aspect, public health, helping the public. But at the same time, also, I have delved into financial matters here in this country. So that's a brief about my stay here.
Thank you very much for that. Now our viewers, at least, know a little bit more about who Dr. Likita Aminu is. Now, Doc, let me fire the first question here. What was your biggest financial challenge when you first arrived in the US, and how did you overcome it?
Thank you. That's a good question. When we arrived in the US, like I said earlier on, with my wife and 3 of my children, all of them OA. So the biggest challenge was getting an accommodation. Second, the biggest challenge, which was actually frustrating for me, was the fact that I needed a car. We just came in from England, and England has an excellent public transportation system. So we got used to that. But on coming here, it was required to have a car. That was a big issue for me. And then thirdly, I had to get the income to feed them. We came here with about $3,000 US in our pocket, but within 2 weeks, that was wiped away, and so it was challenging. And then, after those 2 weeks, our eyes had to open. Then we have to find a way of surviving. So with friends around that, we had a brother-in-law who lived here. He is the reason why we came to Cleveland, Ohio. And so he was able to help us with the accommodation. Since he lived here, he was able to rent an accommodation where both my family and his family shared in a 3-bedroom apartment. You can imagine how difficult, a 2-family with children on either side sharing a 3-bedroom home. So it was tough. And then we had to get a job to feed ourselves. And so it was challenging. My wife had to do some work that she had to start as STNA. I had to start teaching at a community college. So this is what actually helped us get started. And but it was challenging at the beginning. $3,000 wiped away within 2 weeks, and it was challenging.
All right. I can just imagine with the 3,000 gone like that. But talking about money now, what would you say was the financial mistake you made early on, and what you learned from it? Being that you were now out of money, what was the first financial mistake you made?
Yeah, thank you. Good question. On coming here, when we got our first car, as we drive around, we tune to the radio, and then I will hear there's this radio station. There's this financial person that was popular, Dave Ramsey. He's the first financial person I used to hear here in 2005, 2006. Mm-hmm. And so he would talk about Financial Peace University, total money makeover, and so on and so forth. And so I came to love him. Nobody told me anything about finance at all. And the only thing we could hear from our loved ones, those that are close to us, some family members that are close to us. I know one of my sister-in-law advised us that she says she has 3 credit cards, and she has 4 credit cards. And from there, it's like she was advising us, get credit cards and max it out, And of course, my wife bought into that. She got some credit card, and I think I remember I got up to 2 credit cards, and but we misused them. I personally didn't use it well, and but then when I started to listen to Dave Ramsey he is completely against the use of credit card. That's what I learned about him. That's what is called plasectomy. He will bring the credit card, and on his show he will cut it off and say, "Don't use it." So I bought into that, and I paid off my credit card, and since then I've stopped using credit card. That is a mistake number one. Mistake number two, which I made, was that in the place where I used to teach, somebody brought and sold to me term life insurance.
Okay.
Yeah, and they did not educate me better. They just made a presentation and just encouraged me. They came check my blood pressure, and that's why I say sign for this. Of course, I signed for it. Term life insurance for 20 years.
Mm.
Knowing what I know now, or knowing what I know now back for the past 2 years, had I known, I would have asked more questions, better questions, and get well informed. But I wasn't well informed, so I signed up for that policy. But when I got financially well informed about 2-3 years ago, I dropped that term policy. I became radical. I came to know, some better product, better services that actually provide better results. And so I dropped that. That's one big, I think the biggest financial mistake I made, to subscribe to a term life insurance without being well informed and without being told of other products or services that are better that I could have made choice of. And so being well informed is important on this matter.
In fact, it is good you've even talked about being well informed, because that's what my next question is actually going to be about, information. So it's to say, how did you source the reliable information and the resources you needed to help you manage your finances, being in a new country? So how did you source this information, and from where did you source this information to help you manage your finances in a new country, as it were?
Yeah, thank you very much. So one thing, like I said, of Dave Ramsey, although he taught not to use credit card, I think what I learned from him, in fact, that actually helped us, the information I received through his teaching that actually galvanized us to go ahead and buy a home or buy our house, was because he usually said this, quote and unquote, renters stay poor, but homeowners build wealth. That statement till today actually stuck with me. If you continue to rent, you are enriching the landlord and you stay poor. But when you own your own home, you are building equity, you're building wealth for yourself. That is one positive thing about his teachings that I imbibe. But there are certain other aspects that are just not good, like not owning a credit card. And then he advances, buy term life insurance and use the money for something else. And that part, I think, is not good. So I got this information from him. And actually, this information actually is what galvanized us to buy our home. That's number one. Number two, in terms of other sources of finances, we met some friends here, and I have some doctors and some nurses also here that were able to share our plight with them, and they have been here actually 20 years earlier than we can. So they have more experience and they have more resources, and those advices help us. In fact, they help us where to buy our home. They help us about the school district we should go to, and in terms of, in addition to just advising us where to buy your house or which school district you should go to, they also help in terms of financial advices. Of course, you have to be careful with the kind of information you receive from your advices. Like I said, some advices, they are not good. Some, they are good. Sift out the ones that are good and then go with it. And that's what we did. And that's what I did, really. And it's been very helpful.
Yeah. That's very helpful. If you can repeat, you said something about homeowners build wealth and renters what? I like that.
Renters stay poor.
Stay poor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Renters stay poor, but homeowners build wealth. And
Yes.
that is very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if
I
you can,
totally agree. So now you talked about when you came that your sister, is it your sister-in-law? So she told you about credit cards and all that. So you people got credit cards. But when you came here, I'm sure you did not have credit history. So coming here, how were you able, what strategies did you use to be able to, you know, build your credit score for you to even be able to get a card in the first place?
yeah, good question. Of course, she advised us getting credit card, and I think my first credit card was from my bank. My first job was at a community college. I was teaching at the community college. I was teaching anatomy at the community college. So I think all I did is that I went to the head of department, introduced myself to him. I said, this is where I am. I need a job. And he was kind enough and said, okay, I'll give you a class to teach. So he gave me a class to teach. And of course, when you are employed, they will ask you to provide a bank account and so on and so forth. So we were made to go and open a bank account. And after opening that bank account, I think after a couple of weeks or months, we received a credit card. I received a credit card from the bank. And so that was my first credit card. And then, of course, I started using it gradually, but I wasn't using it in an appropriate way. I was maxing it out and so on and so forth. Yeah, so that is not the best way to use it later on, as I would learn later on. And yeah, so that's one way I did it. My first job helped me in building the initial credit by receiving the credit card that came from my
about how many weeks, Doc, would you say it took between you opening the account, starting the job, before you actually got the credit card? What was the timeline?
Yeah, I think it took about a couple of months, 2 to 3 months before I actually got the credit card in the mail. Yeah, so by that time, they have known how I was using my credit card and it built. And then, so as I continue to listen to Dave Ramsey, remember I said there are some things that are good, some things that are not fine. So one of the other things that he really also taught that paying things cash down is more important. It's a powerful tool that I remember he would say that if you go to garage, sell, buy things cheap, and gradually, you know, in fact, one statement he also used to make, he said, delay pleasure so that next time you can live better, you know, later. Delay pleasure now, then you do better later. And that's one statement I did. So one of the things he teaches about delay pleasure, work for it, and pay cash down if you can, is that if the power of cash, he emphasized on the power of cash. If you want to buy something, let's say at a garage sale, or even a car for sale that is by somebody's car, he would tell us and say that, you know, if the guy says $2,000, go with your cash in hand and say $1,000, and he'll say, just dangle it like this to him. If the guy see the cash, he'll give it to you free. You know, that's a smart way to actually get some things back. If you don't have a lot of money to go and buy a new car from the car lot, that's one thing you can do and get things. And that actually helped a lot. In fact, there was a time me and my children, we had about 3 or 4 cars that we bought like that. I will save $2,000 and I'll see a car by the roadside. And these children were in college that time and I need a car for them. And I must get a car for them. If they say $5,000, I'll go with $2,000. I said, this is the cash here. And that really helped me. Helped us that they were able to get things to do. So one of the things that, yes, you can get a credit card, but the other things you can actually build your wealth gradually as you grow. And yeah, so that's one of the things I did. Listening to those pieces of advice from Dave Ramsey. Not all of them are good, but these are some of them that I learned that actually help us. And yeah, so this is how we did. And of course, like I said, it took us about 2 to 3 months before we were able to get the first credit card. And from then, we kept on building. And after we received the first credit card, after a couple of weeks, I received the second credit card. And our sister-in-law loved it and said, "Here, this is the American dream. So enjoy it."
Yes, and then can you remember the card that your bank gave you? Was it a traditional credit card or it was a secured credit card by the bank? Did you have to deposit money to get it, or they just gave you the card?
No. We didn't deposit money to get it.
Okay, so it was a traditional credit card. Okay.
Yeah. We didn't have to.
So it must be because you had the job, so they knew for sure that yes, you pay.
That's right.
And your salary was being paid into that account.
Right? Yeah, my salary was being paid into that account.
Yes.
So they saw it and they knew that I have a source of income. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's take a little step right away from that a little bit. But you came with a family, and as you said, you came with 3 little children, right?
Yes.
If I'm correct. So how do you balance? How did you balance supporting family? You are supporting this family here already. These little children you were working with, well, you had to take care of and all that. And as an African, you came from home. And there were also expectations from you, I believe, from back home. So how did you balance supporting family back home, family here, and managing your expenses in the US, and also taking care of family back home?
Yeah, thank you. Good question. First of all, you have to establish a boundary. When I left, I told my siblings that they should not see me as God who will meet their needs. That I made it clear to them. Mm-hmm. I cannot meet every of your needs. So make your own efforts. I will step in where I can. And when I have something, I will give it to you. Yeah. So that was made clear to them. And obviously, one of the disadvantages that we immigrants face, or we in the diaspora face, is that they take advantage of us that are outside here. One, they want to sap you up until you're dry. Number two, if you have something back at home, they want to take it off. In fact, I had plots of land that I left in the care of my people. Unknown to me, they sold it up. Wow. Not long after I left. Wow. Until one day I was asking a question, where is this person? Where is this person? They say he bought this. Where is it that he had an accident? How did he get the money to do that? Oh, we sold this plot of land. We sold this plot of land. This is how I got to know that the properties I left behind, they sold it. And so I was mad at it, but that's one of the disadvantages we face. So I lay a boundary for them. And of course, my brother needed admission to go to university. He actually my friend got admission for him to go to UJ, University of Jos. And here am I just coming here with struggling to support a wife and 3 children, and then how to survive here. And then they expected me to take care of his school fees back at home. At that point, it was hard, it was tough. And honestly, I could not meet that need. So he could not go to the university because of that. And of course, he's doing something else now. He's into business now, eventually. So that was challenging. The expectation was just too much. But then I have so much that I can take care of them here, and let alone to leave some to take care of them. So there was a boundary I established, and I actually dampened their expectation. They shouldn't expect me to come and solve every of their problem there. And one thing I know, my Bible tells me that, your family is your primary responsibility, not your siblings. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So of course we have to take care of our aged parents as well, but your family is your primary responsibility. So I felt the call to duty to take care of my own family here first. And by the grace of God, whatever I have, I was able to send what I have there. The other thing that me and my wife, we also agreed is that we agreed on the certain amount of money. If we are sending amount of money back home, if it reaches certain level, we have to let the other know about it. You know, for example, we could say, okay, beyond 200, we have to discuss it. But anything below 200, let us, you can just do it. You don't have to let me know. So we established this kind of boundary that help us to manage our finances. So these are some of the checks and balances that we did that help us really to taking care of ourselves here and at the same time also helping back home.
Yeah, I love that part of setting boundaries because we've heard a lot of stories of Africans here in the US that have dropped dead because of so much, you know, they overwork themselves because they have to carry all the financial burden of their family back home. So they work 3-4 jobs and maybe their working hours, 20 hours, 22 hours working, just because they don't set boundaries. So it's really a smart move on your part that you were able to do that. And I think one thing we also forgot to mention, like to ask, is for us to have our viewers to have context. When did you arrive in the US, at least? Like how long ago?
Yeah, good question. We arrived here in 2003. I think that was soon after 2 years after 9/11 in 2003. That was March 2003. That was when we arrived here.
Okay.
And it's been I can't believe that it's now 21 years since we arrived here, and it's been an interesting journey really. And honestly, the other regret of mine here now is that the financial information and financial knowledge that I know now, I wish I knew it 2 years or 3 years after I arrived here.
Yeah.
The situation would be different, you know.
Yeah.
But now, but you know, there's a saying that says better late than never.
Exactly.
And that's why I love what you guys are doing to inform immigrants, you know, so that they don't make the mistakes we made.
Exactly.
I had to see another, for example, I'm here for 21 years. It took me 19 years before I could discover the financial education you and I are sharing now.
Yes.
People don't have to wait to wait
Exactly.
long. And that's why what we are doing, what you're doing is phenomenal, that people should be well informed right on time so you don't have to pay this price of waiting for 19 years. And I am 19 years, another person maybe spent 2-3 years before they got this, but there are people that are here for 20, 30, 40 years, they don't know about this thing here. Yeah. So it's a powerful thing we're doing, educating our group. So yes, 2003 was when we arrived here.
All right. So flowing off that, what advice will you give to new immigrants about saving and investing for the future?
Wonderful, wonderful. I think that's an important question. I wish somebody educated me on this, you know, when I came newly. But to our friends and our folks that are just arriving here, please and please listen to financial advices that financial professionals like Christine and Vida are sharing. Is very powerful. And I know there is what is called savings account. I even tried certificate of deposit at some point in time, but I entered it. I think by the next day I went back to withdraw it, you know, and those things don't work well. But cut long story short, I discovered in the last 2-3 years, there's what is called Index Universal Life Insurance. To me, that is the most powerful tool to actually invest and put your money there. It has the following advantages, okay? As Tony Robbins will put it, remember, Tony Robbins, one of the wealthy persons who wrote the Money Master the Craft. Yes. 4 advantages of that 770 account that a lot of us are not aware of it. We need to be aware of 770 account. It is an account that has been in existence for over 165 years, says Tony Robbins. And he said this account has 4 main advantages. Number 1, safety. It's a safe account. Your money is safe there. It's not subject to the volatility of the stock market and the rest of them. Number two, liquidity. You can have access to that money anytime you want. Number three, no taxes. The fact that you don't pay taxes whenever you are taking that money out. And number four, high yield return. These are powerful elements of what is called index universal life insurance that no other account gives you that. And that's what I will advise people. If you don't have a 770 account or an index universal life insurance, it is important you get it. Forget other people who tell you that it's expensive and so on and so forth and so on and so forth. Guess what? Go and try the other option. You end up actually paying more and the benefits are not as compared to this one here. So to an immigrant who just coming here, if I have to tell him where to invest his money, get life insurance. And guess what? You can use life insurance, especially the index life insurance, and actually build wealth in it. I have read at least 12 to 13 books on this subject. And I have seen people that have built wealth through it can actually take money from this product and buy property. Take money from this product and buy real estate. Take money from this product and buy things and create wealth for themselves and their family. And that's what I'm passionate about. So yes, that is a powerful tool you should have. And I will encourage any immigrant that doesn't have it to please get it.
Thank you very much for that education, because that's part of what this channel is all about, to educate our people, particularly the new immigrants to this country. So guys, ladies and gentlemen, you heard that wonderful advice from Dr. Likita Aminu about the tools that you can use. You can rewind this later and listen to it again, what he has told you. So I want to ask this other question as we begin to wind down here, Doc.
Yes, sir.
Can you share any cultural differences in financial practices that you had to adapt to when you moved to the US from Nigeria?
Cultural differences, very important, yes.
In finances.
In finances, yeah.
Financial practices.
Right. I think one of the things that we are used to back in Nigeria is we call it cash and carry, right?
Yeah,
cash and carry.
exactly.
I remember there's a store in Zaria.
Yes.
That used to be called cash and carry. You know, and so culturally they expect you, whether it's a car or it's a video or stereo set you want to buy, you know, the culture there is that drop the cash and carry it. So coming in here, this is the concept that we had, and that I had also, that I have to buy things cash and carry. So it was a shock. It was a cultural change for me. It was tough for me to adapt into the having to buy a car on credit, having to buy ordinary stereo on credit, even buy a video camera. They expect you to buy it on credit. So that was a shock. But knowing what I know now, yes, the credit system is in place to help you grow financially, but you have to use it in the right way. If you don't use it in the right way, it will be worse off. You'll be worse off. Yeah, so that's one big cultural difference that had, you know, cash and carry versus the credit system here in the United States.
Exactly. That was a big one for us too. And I think maybe for most immigrants, that would be the number one, because we're used to always paying for things cash down. To get anything, you buy a car, it's cash down. You get a home in Africa, you know, it's cash down.
Build it from scratch.
Yeah, you build from scratch. Not here that everything is like, oh, you take mortgage, you do this. No, those were strange things to us too, actually.
That's right.
It has been nice talking with you, and we would like to ask you one last question before we close. And how do you think platforms like Cash Talk financial conversation for immigrants can make a difference in the lives of immigrants? And what advice would you give to our viewers to make the most out of the resources that we provide? I know you talked a little bit about it a few minutes ago, yes. So if you can answer this and give it a more, a bigger, broaden it.
Yeah, thank you. I think that is very important. Cash talk, it's very important. We need to talk about it. We need to talk about at a family round table, on our dinner tables. As families, we need to talk about it. If, like I said, if I received the education I knew now, honestly, I would be better off. But it's better late than never. And so those of us that are new, immigrants that are new, please take this advice. Number one, listen to this information we're sharing here, and professionals like Vidal and Christine, and listen to what they say, follow what they say, they will not err. And what you also need to do is that, another thing I needed to mention is the fact that, remember, when we came newly, I didn't mention this, let me mention it now. When we came newly, one of the things they mentioned to us is that the American dream. They mentioned about the American dream. And then the American dream, what does it consist of? Graduate from college, get married, buy a house, and then they say that you have fulfilled the American dream. But in the course of my financial adventure, I read the book by Shelley Lou. She said, the real American dream, and this is relevant to the newer immigrants that are coming here. The real American dream of today is not you owning a home. It's not you just getting married and having a good job and having a good family. She said in that book, and I believe her completely, she said, the real American dream is having financial security. How financially secure are you? How financially secure is your spouse? How financially secure are your children or your family? Should anything happen to you now, what will happen? How financially secure? So in today's America, if you are still believing that the American dream is owning a home, according to that, she said, sorry, the train has left you behind. And so for you to catch up, have a financial security, get a product, get a portfolio, get an account that will keep you and your family safe. And this will help us as immigrants. The Jews do it among themselves. The Caucasians do this among themselves very well. But we Africans, our people of color, we don't do well on this. And that's why educating ourselves in forums such as this is very, very important. And so get an account. Christine can actually help you get an account. Vada can help you get an account. And any financial counselor, with the right information, can give you an account. By all means, get an IUL. It will help you to avoid some of the mistakes we have made. I don't know if I mentioned to you, I had a term life insurance that I signed up for in 2006 after paying for 16 years into that account. When I received the correct knowledge about 2 years ago, I had to drop that account because of the many disadvantages it has. I'm not going to get anything. It's not building cash for me. I have to die first before I get the benefit, and so on and so forth. So I was radical. I said, rubbish. And then I got the correct one. So as you come in here, please get the correct, account that can actually help you and your family in the future. And that's the piece of advice I will give to all of us here. And stay connected with people that have been here and that actually have passed through this path before. They will have some experience to share with you, like Vidal and Christine. They will share their experience with you. Yeah, so that's what I'll say here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Likita Aminu. Viewers and everyone out there, you've heard him. He mentioned to contact us But I also want to tell you that Dr. Aminu is also a financial professional. He's wearing many hats. So, Doc, if people want to contact you, you're in Ohio, that's a whole swath. We are out here in Texas. We are in Fort Worth, Texas. How would they reach you?
Yeah,
if people want to contact you, how?
Is my contact information, and that's my email. And like I was mentioned, Shelley Lou, remember I said the new American dream today is financial security.
Yes.
This is a millionaire who discovered this very, very powerful situation, very powerful book. So, yeah.
Please reach out to Dr. Aminu. He's also well read and well schooled and well trained in helping financial professionals. The whole idea is that you do not make the same mistakes that these folks made when they first landed here, ourselves inclusive. So we want to thank you for spending your precious time with us today, listening to this interaction. Please share it. Share it to all your other friends so that they get to see what we are giving them here. Like this channel, subscribe to it, hit that notification button so that once we come out with the next interview of somebody else, you will be the first to receive it. And leave your comments behind. We want this to be interactive. So leave your comments behind. And even if you have suggestions or ideas of things you think we could also run on a program like this, we are open to suggestions. We are open to innovations. We are open to doing it in a way that it will be most beneficial to our community. That is the goal. So don't forget, watch, subscribe, and share.